Hey, it's Jessie. Today on the show, you know her from Roseanne, you know her from Scrubs. It's Sarah Chalke.
They yelled at me and they were like, I like the first Becky way better. And I was like, okay. Yeah, she was fantastic. I agree. She was great. And then he came back and he was like, hey, I just want to apologize. I've always just wanted to yell at an actor and you were here. And so I'm sorry.
This is Dinner's on Me, and I'm your host, Jesse Tyler Ferguson.
So today we're at the Clark Street Diner, which is in the old space once occupied by the 101 Diner, which was in itself a Hollywood institution. It's a place where you would see actors in between auditions or studio executives having tuna melts. It's a really charming space. It was also in the movie Swingers, ironically. And the good people over at Clark Street Bakery revived the diner and opened up Clark Street Diner. And I thought this would be a perfect place to bring my friend Sarah because she's about to have her own revival herself. She's putting on Dr. Elliott's Scrubs again on the iconic TV show Scrubs. So let's get to the conversation.
Shakespeare in the Park must have been amazing. You've done a ton of
I've done
theater.
I've done a lot of theater. That's where I started.
Did
you just do theater?
So not since drama in high school.
Drama. You're so Canadian.
I live up there now.
I know.
Drama in high school, and then we were doing Scrubs, and I got an audition to. Molly Ringwald was leaving a play in New York, and James Lapine had directed it, and it was a four-hander, and so an audition came in, and I drove downtown and I auditioned for it, just kind of on a whim. I didn't think I was going to get it. I just was like, oh, I want this. This is a cool challenge, and I auditioned with James, and I got the call that I got it, and I was like, wait, what? I haven't acted since drama class.
Wait, this is on Broadway or here in LA?
This was off Broadway. I had no fucking clue what I was doing. I remember the first night of walking on stage. I remember that moment like it was yesterday of putting my foot over the threshold and going, what if I don't remember one word? What if this is terrible? What if I've never done this? What if this doesn't work? And
you're with the sharks, baby. Yeah.
And it was within minutes. So fun. Within minutes.
Isn't it the best?
It was the best, and I loved everything about it. I loved the fact that every night's different, the fact that there are factors, the fact that the audience is another character, There's no editor. That's my favorite part about it. Someone was trying to play, why do you love theater so much? It was and I love editor. I'd be please, edit a performance around what I just gave you. But you don't get that.
But and having a performance completely under my jurisdiction is really exciting. I get to from point A to point Z, give the audience the version of this character that I want to give them without an editor.
Yes.
It's so exciting.
That's such a good way to look at it because there's no safety net of an editor.
Yeah.
There's no safety net of an editor. A, if you go up on a line, but B, just the timing of it and the cadence. And that was a thing that was so crazy was one night, one of the actors called in sick and the understudy jumped in, and I hadn't experienced that before. And we hadn't rehearsed with this person. And so I'm literally going he's not kissing, he's supposed to lean over and just kiss me. And we're standing right at the edge of the front of the stage and he's not kissing me. And I'm like, okay, so he's got a bit of different timing. He's gonna.
Hello, hi, how are you?
Good, thanks.
All right, so we got some menus for you here.
You're at a diner with the menu's also the placemat.
Right.
Yes.
Do you guys want to start with any coffees right away? Latte.
I've had so much coffee today. I'm going to.
But I want
Bottle sparkling water.
I'd love a bottle of sparkling water, yeah.
I love sparkling water. And can I do Earl Grey tea with a bit of almond milk?
Earl Grey, we have a black tea and almond milk.
That sounds great.
I'm gonna get that started while you guys know.
Thank you.
So
He wasn't kissing you.
He wasn't kissing me, and I'm like, okay, it's different timing. And right before that, I had to do a crying scene, and anytime I cry, my nose runs. He finally kisses me, and he pulls away, and I had a giant booger on my face that has now transferred to his face. And I, in that moment, realized, I was like, oh, that's why.
That's why he wasn't.
That's why he was
yeah, there was hesitation.
So now it's on his face, and we're right at the edge of the stage, and I am mortified. And we run around the stage, we run off, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Sometimes when I cry and my nose runs, he's like, yeah, I was waiting, hoping that you'd feel it and move it, and you did.
God.
And so it was like, that was like the best, that wasn't the best part. I felt terrible about the booger, but like the best part in that, like every night was different.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, okay, tonight we're gonna play Pass the Carrot. And I was like, what's Pass the Carrot? They're like, we're gonna pass this tiny carrot between. I was like, I'm not ready for Pass the Carrot.
No.
We just got here.
Just let me do the play. I did, the first time I ever replaced in a play, I was 21 years old, and it was a play called The Most Fabulous Story Ever Told at the Minetta Lane Theater, which is a very tiny theater. And in the first, I don't know, I'm gonna say like 9 to 11 minutes of the play, my character is nude.
Nude.
Nude, naked.
And you
totally
did
naked.
it?
Yeah, did it.
You're so
21 years old. Fearless at 21. But this is the crazy thing about it put in when you are, the whole cast was, I was the only new person. And everyone was in their regular clothes. Like they they don't need to rehearse with their costumes because they have done the play.
Right.
So, but also like being nude is in a way a costume.
Right.
You know,
It's a costume.
yeah. So at the beginning of the play, there's a scene where I play with another actor on stage, and we're both nude in this scene. Day of the put-in. He's completely like wearing clothes that he like walked out of his house in, and I am 1,000% naked, just doing the play with him. And I'm like, this is strange. This is very strange. And I have to be okay with this? Just 1,000% naked. And he's wearing
1,000.
sneakers and socks and a hat, just playing the scene with me.
I actually can't imagine it.
No.
Like I cannot.
In fact, I'm looking back, I was like, you should have gotten naked with me.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm good. Did you guys get a chance to figure it out?
I mean, I think I know what I'm gonna do. Do you need a moment?
No. I can do fast.
I'm gonna do a patty melt.
Go for the patty melt?
Patty melt,
awesome.
yeah.
How would you like it cooked then?
Medium?
Yeah, sure. And French fries for your side, or we could do coleslaw.
I'll go some coleslaw.
Okay. Sounds good. And for you, my dear?
I would love the spinach and mushroom omelet.
Okay. And we're out of mushrooms at the moment. Would you like red peppers instead?
Yes.
Okay.
I would love red peppers. Yeah, that's
And then
great.
it comes with our hash browns and toast. We can do fresh baked sourdough, wheat, white, brown.
Sourdough's great.
Very cool. Would you like a little jam on the toast?
Yeah,
Awesome.
I'd love.
Raspberry. Yeah.
That'd be great. Thanks so much.
All right, you guys. Sounds
Thank you
good.
so much. Oh my God, there's Rufus Wainwright. Do you love Rufus Wainwright? I want to say hi to him. Do you know who Rufus Wainwright is? Oh,
Say hi to him.
of course he's here.
Of course he's here. That's
I
why
was
we're
supposed
here.
to have. That's why we're here. We're here for these moments. I'm gonna say hi to him before he goes. I was supposed to have dinner with him a few nights ago through a mutual friend of ours, and then it all fell apart. And he's like, "Do you mind if I invite Rufus Wainwright?" I was like, "Absolutely."
You've never met him?
No, I have met him. We used to like hang out in the East Village together when he was like just coming out with his album, the very first album. And I was like, "This guy is everything."
Okay, then of course you have to say hi. You already know.
Yeah, I mean, I do know
Let's
him
just
a
hang
little
out.
bit.
We're buddies.
I will. Yeah. Love him.
Do you love doing the podcast? You're so good at it, and what a fun
I
thing,
do
and
love
what an
doing
amazing
it.
idea to do it like this.
This is,
and
I
like,
think if I was in a studio, just like, I mean, I actually love being on podcasts because there's something about long form conversation I just feel like so liberating. You don't have to speak in sound bites. You can really like clarify your thoughts and like tell stories that are like meaningful. So I do love that. But the fact that we get to do this over a meal, and like I'm such a foodie, and I get to try all these incredible places and shine light on these restaurants that I love, and try places like this that I've never been to.
You've not been here.
I've been to it when it was a 101.
Yeah.
But you know, it's great. I'm having such a good time with it. Wait, so you just lived near here. You didn't work here when it was a 101.
I lived, so right when I moved back to LA,
Okay.
because I commuted when I did Roseanne, and then when I was like ready
Right.
to like move here, I said to my best friend, since I was 5 years old, my best friend since I was 5, she got to film school and wanted to produce, and I wanted to act, and a friend of ours had a 6-month sublet like in Beechwood Canyon right there. And so we decided to come down for 6 months, and we stayed 17 and 19 years respectively.
This is such a great area to like have your first like moments in LA.
Yeah.
It's so vibey. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, that looks so good.
That looks so good.
And that was my raspberry jam. And your patty melt.
Thank you so much.
Any other hot sauce that you might need?
Yeah.
I'll take some hot sauce.
Tabasco.
I don't know, Cholula for me.
Cholula for me too. Thanks.
It's such a vibe area. I used to live in Los Feliz, so not too far away. But like that's my Gelson's. It's just like down the
Yeah.
street. Yeah, I used to come here all the time and like hang out with friends who were visiting. It felt like such a vibey. You know, it was featured in the movie Swingers.
Yep.
So like that's kind of what made it big. Yeah, no, so I love that it's sort of been resurrected by Clark Street. Thank you so much.
I was in Los Feliz after Beachwood. I was in Los Feliz.
Yeah. I feel like I used to run into you in Los Feliz occasionally. Yeah,
Los Feliz was great.
it's great. Where do you shoot Scrubs?
You're not going to believe this. This is the craziest thing that's happened to me in my lifetime. But so a couple of years ago, I was like, I lived here 17 years. I moved back to Vancouver, where I'm from.
Yes, I knew that.
Sorry,
That's where I
that
last
was
saw
like a
you.
decade ago. And so I did a drama up there, and I loved it. It was a great experience. But I was dying of cancer in the show, and I had to cry like 6 times a day towards the end. And at the end of that, I was like, I want to do a comedy like Scrubs that felt like Scrubs, shooting in Vancouver. Like that's what I want to do. And then we started talking about the reboot and the revival of Scrubs. And then about a year and a half ago, it started to get real. And then about a year ago, I got a call that they were like, the studio wants to shoot it in Vancouver.
No.
But nobody wants to go up there. So like, don't get excited. It's not going to happen. And I was like, oh my God, the emotions that are running through my body in this moment. Are you kidding me? They want to shoot it here in my home. And so then it was 6 months of going back and forth, LA, Vancouver. And I remember where I was driving in my car when I got the call. They're shooting in Vancouver.
No!
So we just shot the first season in Vancouver, which is my hometown, which like,
That's so cool.
it was incredible. Like they don't shoot comedies up there for the most part. There's like a couple that are shot up there. And it was a dream. I can't even articulate in words what it was like. Like I got to have everybody in my hometown.
Oh.
And it was so cool. We did 9 episodes because mid-season replacement, and it was everything. But the fact that it was like, it would have been it was an amazing experience. I would love doing it anywhere. But the fact that it was there was so lucky and so cool. I manifested
That's
it.
incredible. Yeah, that's awesome. I do want to talk a little bit about Roseanne, even though you've talked about it ad nauseum. But literally, I know you've probably told this story every time you sit down in front of someone, but it is fascinating that, you went into like the #1 show in America to replace an actor, and like there was no, like, I don't remember like any sort of,
There's nothing.
they didn't try and like cover that up. It was like, oh, this person's going to be played by a new person. 3 seasons, 4 seasons into the show.
6 seasons.
6 seasons into the show.
6 seasons in. Yeah, and it was they did it. The only way they addressed it was in the tag. They would always do those amazing like creative tags at the end, and so in the tag, they had us all watching an episode of Bewitched, and someone said, "I can't believe they switched that
Right.
Darren," and then I said, like, I think the second one was much better or something like that, and that was the only way that it was addressed. But it was it was crazy. It was at a time when like I was in grade 11, which is Canadian for 11th grade. For anyone listening who doesn't know that, and I got this audition, and I just like put a VHS tape in the mail
Really?
to the casting
I mean,
directors.
do you think the breakdown was like, the actor should sort of look somewhat like
Peggy from Roseanne.
like-
They were keeping it under wraps. They said it was for a new show filming in 1994, and so it was a scene,
Oh.
and the names Becky and Mark had literally been whited out, and they put like Jessica and Ben or something.
Oh, really?
And so the guy I was reading the scene with, who came in as a favor, was like, "This is a scene from Roseanne. I've seen this episode." And we're like, "Okay, I guess they're keeping this other show under wraps, and they're just using these sides."
Right.
So I didn't even know what it was for. And then the next audition came, and I knew what it was for. And then the next audition came, and it was basically they were like, "We're going to fly you down to audition with Glenn Quinn, who played Mark, Becky's husband." And there were 7 of us. It was me and 6 other women, and they were all 21, moved to LA, living in LA, actresses, and I was like 16 from Canada. And they put us kind of through this,
By
like,
the way, they were all terrified because they flew you down. I know that. I know that for a fact. Because that happened to me when I did the class. I was the only one that got flown in, and all the other actors were like, if they flew you in, you're the threat.
oh, that's so Interesting. I did not know that. Well, I didn't know anything at the time. I literally hadn't worked.
Me either.
So I knew nothing. And they put us through hair and makeup, and they had us all in matching Becky blouses, and then they had us on the stage, and they had 4 cameras, and they were calling out numbers. They had a laugh track for the audience, and they were kind of putting all the elements in to see if you could keep your focus. But the whole scene was making out with Glenn Quinn, and I was 16, and he was 24, and Irish and gorgeous. And I just remember like going like, how am I gonna remember one line? Like he was like, baby, come here. And I'm like, get a job at the gas station. He's like, come here. I'm like, get a job at the gas station. And that was the scene. And so we do the scene, and they said, we'll let you know in 7 days. And on the 7th day, they said, fly back tomorrow. We're gonna put you with down to 4 of you, and you're gonna audition with Roseanne. And the audition was like on the infamous couch.
Yeah.
The quilt. We're sitting there, and I just remember her turning to me. Roseanne turned to me and said, how old are you? And I said, I'm 16. And she said, how old are you actually? And I was like, it would never have occurred to me to lie about my age.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even know that was a thing. And I was like, I'm 16.
She thought you were a legal adult, like lying about, like.
I'm a kid. And because everyone else was 21 and auditioning, and because Sarah and Lacey had both wanted to go to college, I think they were concerned that I was the wild card that would maybe take the job and go to college, where all the other girls were already doing this.
Right.
And so Tom Arnold called me in my house and was like, what about college? And I knew why I was calling. I was like, yeah, no college for me. And even though I knew I would go eventually, but I would never, this was an opportunity, and I would go to college after. I would do whatever. So I get the call, I get the job. I go to a party that night. I tell a couple people, and it sounded like the weirdest, like it was before streaming. There was like 10 shows on TV. It was the #1 show on TV. And it was like literally saying, oh, I'm going to go and be that person who already has the job on the 6th season of this #1 show. It sounded insane. It spread around our school really quickly. And then on Monday, I got a call from the Roseanne show saying, we're getting cold feet about switching Becky. We don't know if we're going to do it. If we do, it will be you, but we're going to put you on hold for 4 months, and we're going to give you $10,000, which was all of the money in the world because I was 16.
For doing nothing.
But I was like, but also, my ass is grass at high school. Like, I will be, if they don't do this, I'm going to be the crazy person who came in and said, I'm going to do that job.
Yeah.
And so I had to wait for 4 months to find out. And then they called and they were like, yeah, we're going to do it. Come down.
I mean, it was risky though, you know? I mean, that's like really jumping into the deep end. Like, you know, you obviously with like Scrubs, you know, create something together. You create it in a bubble for a little while. Then you bring it out to the world. And like people make opinions about it. The critics decide whether or not they like it. And like there's this whole thing and like maybe it's not a hit right away and it becomes a hit.
Yes.
I mean, you were jumping into the deep end of literally the #1 show in America. And I mean, I imagine there must have been like, and obviously the internet wasn't anywhere. I mean, like people's opinions didn't float as freely as they do now.
Right.
You know, but I can imagine that there were people who had very strong opinions about someone. You get invested with these people. Can you imagine if they like replaced Jennifer Aniston 6 years into Friends? Like there would be an uproar. I mean, was there? I feel like,
you know, I think there was for sure a lot of opinions. I remember like a couple of specific events. Like one time I went to university and I ended up starting partway through and just kind of like whatever classes I would miss and ones I would go to. And I remember being at a Freedom Tibet rally and someone coming up to me, and I just kind of like had started and I just made some new friends and I'm sitting with them and they like yelled at me and they were like, I like the first Becky way better. And I was like, okay. Yeah, she was fantastic. I agree. She was great. And then he came back and he was like, hey, I just want to apologize. I've always just like wanted to yell at an actor and you were here and so I'm sorry. And I didn't mean it. And I was like, oh, thank you for clarifying. But I think the only reason that I was able to actually even go and do the job was because I was so naive and I didn't actually get it. I mean, I got it a little bit. I didn't really get it in the same way that I would now in terms of like potentially the pressure cooker that situation was. I think I didn't fully comprehend. I think it's the only reason I was actually able to even go and audition and be in that room and be present and have a conversation with them. I feel like now even I'd be like,
Right.
I think I just was pretty young and naive to what that was.
Do you think it prepared you at all for, I mean, that was a pressure cooker, if there ever was one. I mean, I'm really good friends with Danny Zucker, who wrote on Modern Family. I know he wrote on Roseanne. And I mean, he told me, he's like, that was a tough set. I mean, that was a pressure cooker.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of tension between, Roseanne and the writers, and like it was insane.
Yeah, the writers got fired. It was like in groups.
Yeah.
It was a pressure cooker, and because it was like, I mean, I'd done tiny projects in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Like really small things, like answered the phone in a movie of the week and been like, Mom, phone, but like very small. Like I haven't really done much, and it was, Roseanne came in one day and fired writers, and that was, I mean, once you see that and you're a kid, you're like, oh, is this something that can happen, you know? Great, thanks.
She's like so much like my friend Miriam.
I didn't understand all of it. Everything was new. Like even the press, like doing press for it. Like I came down and I think a lot of that cast was super private, kept their private lives private, and I think I came down there like, great, you're gonna be doing some press. So I thought the answer was yes to everything. So I didn't understand that like some things you might say no to. So if they asked me to do something, I just showed up. And so like one time I remember there was like a Saturday and it was Battle of the Network Stars and it was Superstar American Gladiators, and they gave us these tiny hot pants and these tiny bra tops, and you're like, there's like the gladiators like at the top of a water volcano shooting water down with you, and it's like me, Mario Lopez, Tina Yothers. They put all these people from these shows, and I got there and there was no one of the rest of the Roseanne cast. And I was like, where's my group? And I was like, oh.
First of all, I forgot about that whole era of TV.
Yes.
That is a throwback right there. Battle of the Network Stars where you were dressed as gladiators.
Yes. And the actual gladiators are like doing these basically like sort of challenges, and then you're kind of thrown in teams. So things like that, where I'd be like 17, I would get there and be like, where's the rest of the cast? Or like I did an interview. I remember my first interview was for Entertainment Weekly, and like I sat down and did the interview, and I was in grade 12 at this point, and I talked about like what I love to do and hanging out with my friends and hiking and all these things outdoors. And then they did the photo shoot, and I didn't understand that the photo shoot is like a fashion photo shoot and it has nothing to do with the interview. So I felt like, why are like the clothes were just getting smaller and smaller until I was in like hot pants, platform heels, a tiny little situation, slick tips, so much makeup, and then they're handing me a cat, and I'm holding this kitten, and now they're like, now pout, and I'm literally like sitting there like holding the kitten, pouting, wearing very little, tear comes down my cheek. The photographer's like, are you okay? And I was like, I don't think I am. They're like, what's going on for you? Oh. And I was like, well, I just don't understand like how. Now I look back and I was like, it was actually a really cool fashion shoot. Like it was really interesting and well done and artistic, and at the time I was like
taking photos to support the interview you'd given.
Right. Well, all I could visualize was my friends in Canada going what are you doing?
I know.
And so I didn't have any frame of reference for it.
I assume like going into this revival of Scrubs must have felt, because you have experienced like a reunion in sorts, like with the Connors, like coming back with a group of people that you haven't seen in a while, sort of picking up where you left off. Scrubs has got to feel, first of all, it really came about, like that was such a iconic moment in television comedy. I feel like it changed the landscape in so many ways. There weren't a lot of like single camera shows. It changed the way we looked at comedy. I think, it was like, it was really like the big hits were all multi-camera shows. This came in and it's such a different tone. People loved it, obviously. You all became huge stars when that show was on. And it must have, first of all, felt so different to be a part of that show, having been a part of something like Roseanne, which was also a huge hit, but you really jumped into the deep end with that show. So like start with a cast and be able to like build a character from the ground up, not like put on other character's pants and literally someone else's name, but to like create a character from the ground up and have such an incredible run with it. And I think about this a lot of times with Modern Family. Like, I would love in 10, 15 years to go back and revisit these characters. I get so
Really?
happy. Oh God, yeah.
Oh, that's
I get so
amazing.
happy for people like you and Zach and Donald who get to come back to these characters after some time away. It just must feel like such a gift. But also, I mean, it must be trippy. I mean, you're totally different people now. You have families and kids, and you're emotionally in different places in your lives, and yet you're coming back to this character that feels so familiar. I don't know. Speak on that. It's like,
Well, you like exactly what you said about coming in and getting to develop a character from the ground up. Like that was my first time in my life, in my career, getting to do that. And I was my whole 20s were on that show. Like I was 24 to 32 for the run, and I feel like it was the time when I learned everything about comedy and timing and how to tell a joke. And because Bill Lawrence, who created it, like he would come up every single rehearsal for the entire 8 years, because we filmed in this old abandoned hospital in Valley. And so it wasn't like, like right now we're shooting Scrubs in Vancouver, the writers' rooms in LA. It was the show that I worked on where we got the closest with all the writers, because we'd hang out at lunch. We'd go down to the writers' room. We got to know them all super well. And so Bill would come up before every rehearsal and he would say, okay, try this, do it like that. Here's a few alts for that joke. Try those. I think try delivering it like this. And it was like being at school, like for comedy every day with Bill, who is so crazy talented. And so to get to do that, and like, I don't know what your take on this with Modern Family is, but for me with Scrubs, like I loved the opportunity to work on the same show with the same people playing the same character for a run.
yeah.
Like there's something so uniquely special about that, as opposed to like new job, new environment. Like there's something great about that too, but I really loved it. And it was like that lightning in a bottle where you love the character and the script and the storyline and the people and all of it. And we got to do it for a big chunk of time. And so like to do that once in your life feels really lucky.
Yeah.
And when I heard we were going to do it again, I was like, yeah, absolutely, I'm on board. And then it was, like when you say trippy, it's exactly how Donald explained it yesterday. It was the word he used. They said, give it in one word, and he said trippy. Because they rebuilt the whole old, like we could have just shot in any hospital set, an old hospital in Vancouver, whatever. They rebuilt the entire hospital to a T. And we all thought when we heard, I was so pumped, because like, that was such a cool idea.
Yeah.
We thought we'll get like 60% of the way there. It's identical. Like admissions, the exact, like the weird like octagon ceiling
was this
tiles,
set
like
stored
everything.
somewhere, or was it they?
It was an old hospital that they actually tore down and built.
Oh, I see.
They built
I
apartments
see.
or condos.
So you never shot. That hospital was never recreated on a stage.
Never.
This is the first time.
It's the first time.
Wow.
And they built it identical. So like when you're used to being like, oh, if I open that door, I'm going to step out onto Riverside Drive, and instead it's like you're stepping out onto a soundstage. And it's 30,000 square feet of sets that they built in these sound stages in Vancouver. And like, it was such a trip, because you're walking onto these sets that like you walked onto for the first time 25 years ago. And you're playing the same character with the same people wearing the same clothes.
It's kind of like a fever dream.
It is. It totally was. Like I had chills when I walked on the first time. I had goosebumps. I was like, this is crazy. And it was immediately so fun. Like when you, as you know, like have a character that just lives in you. Like you just read it and you're like, oh, that cadence, that's you. Just do it.
Yeah.
And it was just, the only tweak was like we wanted to figure out a way to bring it into 2026, because obviously comedy shifted now and it's different. And the first seasons of Scrubs were more grounded. As we went on, they started to get like, I mean, obviously we still have the fantasies and we go off in those, but anything that's happening in real time is more grounded and real. So that was kind of the one thing when we were doing the pilot back in October of this iteration, was figuring out like, okay, you're still your character, but we got kind of broad sometimes. So how do we bring it grounded? And how would it be if it was just like totally real? And so we kind of did it a few different ways to find our way back in. But yeah, it was super special, and I highly recommend it. I think you guys should do it. I think, you take a break, you take the time, and then coming back to it, like, actually just feels like putting on your slippers.
Yeah, I feel like it's too soon, but I do dream of it coming back in some iteration. I just saw Julie and Sophia last night for dinner. Julie says hi, by the way.
Say hi back.
Yeah, she loves you. You kids went to school together, right?
Yeah, at the very, very beginning, right before I moved to Canada.
Right.
We were in kindergarten. 3/4 way through kindergarten, we left and moved to Canada.
I can only imagine that it's. I mean, well, I guess what I'll say is, like, I got to watch the first few episodes, and I can see what you're talking about. I mean, like, you're different people. You're 15 years older than you were. You're all. You can tell you as actors have had so much more life experience, and like things have happened to you, and it brings this like other level to your characters. It's just like it's really like you have. I mean, you fast forwarded, and like you're like, what are these people doing now? And like this, they're still these same people that we loved watching on TV, but like there's all this life experience that they bring with them, and I don't want to spoil anything, but like things have happened and to these characters, and things have happened in your lives, and it's just, I don't know, it's really lovely, and it felt very, I don't know, it felt very organic is the only word I could think of when I watched it. It just felt really, it felt very truthful and like exactly like what it should be. Are you pleased with like what you've seen, or?
I obviously, like, going into it, you're like, what's this new one going to be, and where are they going to find a jumping in point? And when I read the script, I was like, oh yes, this is so smart. Like the way they chose to drop everybody in, like without spoiling anything, I just thought it was such a smart jumping off point for like a right ground for comedy and drama. And then obviously, like, the three of us being, like, it was really important to Bill that we're all like really good teachers now. Like they've all, Donald and Zach and I've all become like illegitimately good doctors and like really care and are really good leaders. And then that leaves room for like the new interns to come in and be like, the new kind of like fish out of water, and they're all so good. They're so talented.
Where are they making these actors nowadays?
What?
Like what water are they drinking?
What water? Like, they come in so talented and equally nice as human beings, which has been the coolest part. And they all like hang out and love each other when you're shooting on location. You're just, it lends itself to that. Like, they all become super close. But they're also, what struck me was how comfortable in their own skin they all are. They're all so unique and so comfortable in their own skin.
Where did they learn that? I did not have that at all.
Where did they get that?
Maybe the time I think I did, but looking back upon myself, I'm like, nope.
Yeah, exactly. The time you feel like, I got this, but then you look back and you're like, I don't got this.
No.
Yeah, and they just are so confident and they're humble. Like, they're so grateful and for the experience, but they're just comfortable in their own skin, which has been so cool to watch. Yeah. But anyways, to answer your question, am I happy with where it landed? Like, I think it was cool. You think about a revival, and if people would come back, like, just nobody's phoning it in. Everybody's like, I want this to be the best it can possibly be, and trying so hard to do everything that they can to make it great. And I think, as you guys will have, if you decide you want to do a revival of Modern Family, like, there's something that is, you can't actually just make up that when you've had that many years together. Like, you can't, you go onto a new set and you hope you have chemistry, but you can't manufacture history. And
that's right.
That just exists. And so, like, everybody just knows each other so well, and I think that translates. Like, we came on to the first day and everybody, like, everyone's making fun of each other, but in the best way, because you just know all of each other's quirks. Like, I am my character. I thought maybe that would be something that would have changed this many years in, that I would know where my body is in space, but I don't. And so we meet all the new kids, and Zach's like, okay, so Chalke's gonna injure, like, every day something's breaking. She's gonna break something, some body part, like, and she's gonna come in, and the day's gonna start with, like, you're not gonna believe what happened. and it's going to be real, and you're not going to believe that it's every day. And so the next day, it's the day before shooting, and I'm running down to meet a bunch of the cast for brunch, and I break my finger, I get the dogs, and I go to brunch, and I don't want to like worry, I haven't had it x-rayed yet, but I know it's broken. So I'm like, I'm not going to say anything, I'm just going to get through brunch, and then I'll go. And my sleeve like comes down, and Zach's like, why are you bleeding from your arm? And I was like, oh yeah, I was just hiking and I fell. And while I'm telling the story at brunch, the server walks by with a tray of so many drinks and so much food and trips and all over my lap. So I'm telling the story of my broken finger while I'm sitting in a giant puddle. I have so much food on my lap, and everybody was like, nothing has changed at all. The prophecy came true. And so I went to set the first day of the like finger splint. I'm like, I broke my finger. And so they're trying to like figure out how to like it's an Easter egg for anyone watching the first few episodes. You'll see like my fingers are buddy taped. So they're gonna CGI out the buddy taping, but like I have like a weird lobster claw. Like these fingers are taped together. You can see it. It's like,
why you really did break it?
So that's just like one example, and I won't bore you with all of them, but like of the fact that, yeah, nothing has changed. I hope you guys do it, because it is super unique to get to come back and do something like, how many years has it been since you guys wrapped?
Well, now almost 6.
6. So like maybe another, like maybe 5 or 10.
I mean, Sophia keeps joking. She's like, we're not going to have Ed for very much longer. We need to do it sooner than later. I'm like, Sophia.
So dark, Sophia.
So dark. But he's doing great. Last time I saw him, I was like, he's not going anywhere. He looks great. We have a few more years. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
This episode of Dinners on Me was recorded at Clark Street Diner in Los Angeles, California. Next week on Dinners on Me, you know her from The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Melrose Place, and more recently from the newest season of The Traitors, it's Lisa Rinna. We'll get into her iconic soap days, her reality TV reign, and what drew her to the ultimate mind game, The Traitors. Plus, she has a new memoir coming out, so I got a lot of questions for her.